Hi, I'm Michelle and this is Mel. Welcome. Hi, I'm Michelle from Melt. Today we're going to make bechamel sauce. Bechamel is the basic structure to all of our toasties, and if you can conquer bechamel, it can take you through a lot of different recipes in life. The ingredients that you'll need are butter, this can be salted or unsalted, flour, plain is fine, milk, we use whole milk but semi-skimmed is fine, Dijon mustard, nutmeg, black pepper and salt. So we'll start with our butter. We take 2 blocks of butter. We're doing this for a commercial recipe, so it's quite large. If you were doing this at home, I would suggest maybe half a block of butter. It depends how many people you're cooking for. So we've got 2 blocks of butter in there at quite a high heat, and that's just going to clarify down to a complete liquid for us. Our butter is just about melted. As you can see, it's a little bit darker than it should be. It was a wee bit hot putting the butter in there, but this whole brown butter thing is kind of trendy, so let's just go with that. We can rescue it as we go. Once we put it all together, it'll come back to life, the colour will be fine. You can rescue a multitude of sins. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our flour to this now. Now I prefer to take it off the heat at this stage, but you can have it on the heat, you can keep going with it. It kind of rushes us through the recipe, whereas if we take it off the heat, it's at our own pace. So we've got our flour here. We just start adding it gradually. Okay. So, and then we're whisking until it comes together. At this point, you can be quite vigorous with it. Try not to splash it everywhere because it is hot butter. And we just add a bit more and a bit more as soon as it's kind of dissolved into the liquid. Okay. And you start to see that the colour really isn't all that relevant at this stage. It's fine, it'll come back together. So we like to do little movements in the middle that are fast and then sweeping movements round. That's how I find that we don't splash it all over the walls. Okay, and you'll see it's kind of starting to look a little bit like a custard mixture. What we're actually wanting from this is the ability to almost take a blob of it and smear it on the wall and for it to stick for just a minute. Not that that's a testing thing that we do, but that's the kind of texture that you're looking for, just so that you're aware. And little fast movements in the center, big sweeps around the edge. Okay, so while we've still got it off the heat, we take our milk. Now, as I say, you can do this on the hob. It's very hard for it to not become lumpy pretty quickly. This gives you a little bit of breathing space to just take your time with it. Some people heat the milk in a separate pan and add it hot. That will really speed it through and make it very thick. We're just gonna take our time with it. There's no rush. And again, little fast movements in the center and big sweeps around the edge. Okay, just add a bit more. Make sure our hob is at a low heat. I've got it on 2, and then we can start adding it back onto the heat at this stage. Okay, so we've got it back on the heat and we just keep adding our milk. So the goal is for us to not taste the flour. So we do this through a combination of heat and adding more milk. And as it gets a bit tougher to blend, you'll see that the way that you're holding your whisk will have to change a little bit. Bechamel arm is a real thing, by the way. Once you've done commercial grade size bechamel, you end up with one particular arm that's a bit Arnie Schwarzenegger. So small, and then there we go, sides. Okay. So bechamel sauce was one of the first recipes that I learned how to make with my mum. Like most teenage girls, we had a very fraught relationship, and the times that we would make bechamel sauce together for our mac and cheese or for our lasagna were the quiet, nice, gentle periods in life. And it's seen me through a lot of good stead in life. Your bechamel starts with the roux, so essentially your flour and your butter, that process is called a roux. With a roux you can then go on to do patisserie, you can make choux pastry with it, you can make a variant of sauces with it, none of which I've done. I tend to just stick with the old trusty bechamel, and one day when I move to Paris I'll pick up the patisserie side of things. So we're adding a wee bit more milk, and at this stage we can probably turn our heat up to a 3 or a 4. You're starting to see that it's actually a little bit thin now, so the heat will just start to bind it a bit more, thicken it up a wee bit more. And at this stage, while we're waiting for it to heat, we can add some of our ingredients. So let's see. So salt. It's really a personal preference. In Scotland, we love to over salt everything, nation of heart attacks, etc. Whatevs, I love salt. So get it to where you want it. You can taste it later, and if it needs a little bit more, that's fine. Black pepper, we're using ground black pepper here. Cracked black pepper is quite nice to use. We're just using ground here for ease. Okay, now nutmeg. Now this is something that a lot of people don't use. I quite like the taste of nutmeg in a bechamel sauce. It's what I associate with it. A lot of people find it quite odd. It's obviously just however you were shown how to do it, that's what you're used to. If we were doing this for a mac and cheese, I would probably be adding lots of cheese at the end. Because we use it as a basis for our sandwich, we don't really need cheese. We add so much cheese to our toasties that this is more about the seasoning element of the toastie. So the cheese would help to thicken it up, but in this case we're not going to use that. The nutmeg and the mustard, however, will give it that taste that you're looking for. So we've got our Dijon mustard here. We like our bechamel quite mustardy. Not a lot of people do, but obviously our customers are quite happy with that. So we'll just get rid of this so it doesn't go all over the counter. Okay, and again, stirring in. So the basis of all of our toasties, really the bechamel, the classic is our basic recipe, 3 cheese. We use a strong cheddar from Lancashire called True Grit, Emmental for melting, and the bechamel sauce for your flavour and your seasoning. We can then turn that into the mac and cheese. We can add pulled pork to it. We can add bacon to it. Or in the case of the bruiser, we can add bacon and haggis to mac and cheese. Loved by many a hungover soul on a Sunday in Melt. Okay, now at this stage we can start tasting it for our seasoning. So, okay. Much better, much better. Okay. Okay, getting there. I can feel it starting to come together. Okay. So that's a good consistency there. And that should do us. That's our bechamel sauce.